interview was I had a 6-month-old child. I had recently graduated college, and I was staying with family, and that didn't work out. I was, staying with family while I was looking for work, and that didn't work out, so I had to find other options. And I had a 6-month-old, which made it, difficult for me, as I was on my own to look for work and housing. But of course, housing is, the priority, my foundation. So I had a list of different agencies and different contacts, and I was calling, and somehow I was led to the Alexandria House. My time here was, I never knew of any organization or any person that was just genuinely concerned about helping people, particularly women with children, have a foundation, have a peace of mind, have, just really focus on getting their life together and getting their life on track. So I didn't really have any faith in that. But being at the Alexandria House showed me that there are people and there is a place like this that exists, that is concerned, with genuinely helping people get their life together without seeking any monetary or seeking any control, just genuinely concerned about helping a person, get their life together. It can be difficult, but on the other aspect, it can be not comforting, but there's a sense of camaraderie there. Like, we all came from the same background, or we're all in the same position. So, based on, the personalities, it can be really supportive.
Sanet Gutierrez, Arancibia. Okay, what brought me here and my mom and my younger sister was that we were living in Mexico, and in Mexico my mom struggled a lot while being a single mother, because she didn't want to leave my sister alone. Like when I grew up with her, I had my grandparents, so it's like she wouldn't leave me alone or with a babysitter. And well, being in Mexico, I wasn't living with my mom, so I couldn't take care of my sister. And she had to take the decision to not work and to work from home, but things got harder and harder. She tried finding a proper babysitter in Mexico, but she couldn't, so she took the decision of coming here. She was born here, and me and my sister were born here. Well, being here, we were living with my aunt. We already had our little plan, just live with my aunt a few months, and then moving on by ourselves, just having our own apartment. But we realized that it's not how it really works here, because you need to have credit. And even if my mom had a good job and had everything, she just needed credit. And thanks to her credit, they don't give her a proper job. They don't let her rent a proper apartment. I mean, she couldn't just get an apartment, just whatever, because it's only me and my sister, and my mom has to work her back off. She works a lot, and she couldn't just leave me alone with my sister. I'm 17, so it's not like she could just leave me there. And when we had problems with my aunt, she's a really kind-hearted person, but she adopted 4 of my cousins. They were abandoned, so we couldn't stay there longer. And we were told that like we called I think 211 or something, and they were gonna help us like find proper shelter or whatever. They didn't do anything. So my mom talking to her social worker, she found this place, and they brought us here. So it's pretty much we're here because my mom doesn't have a good credit, and she has never used her credit. That's the issue. And even if she wants to use it right now, they're like, why wouldn't you have credit if you're 40? I wouldn't say it has changed my life, but it has changed several things. I used to have, let's just say, an antisocial disorder. I had to take medication, and that was one of the consequences from living with my father. I was living in Mexico City with him, and he was really abusive. After that, I became a really, let's say, shy person. Not shy, but I would just get really uncomfortable around people. And it got to the point where I would have really bad anxiety attacks, and I had to take medication for that. And being here helped me a lot with living with other people, because I wasn't used to that. At first it was really stressing for me, but right now it's like just living with more people. It's just like I just see them like as family too, and we're all like in the same boat. And yeah, I think that's pretty much how it has changed me. My mom's social worker told her my mom explained to her that I had been going through abuse, and my mom was afraid of going to a shelter because when there's like a family shelter, they have like families, like entire families, like mom, dad, and kids. And sometimes there's a reason why nobody wants to rent them a place. Like either they have like drug abuse problems, and my mom was just afraid that I would suffer from abuse again, or that being near someone that is suffering from abuse was gonna hurt me. So I think that's why the social worker considered here, and she sent us here.
Oh, my name is Jasmine, and I do consent to this video. Well, I actually was part of the game program, and they have, through the game program, they have certain things that you can start for. They place you for jobs. So this was one of the jobs. This was actually the first job they recommend me to. So I came in for the interview, and the day I came in for the interview, I started working the same day. About 2 months in. 2 months, yeah. It's really good here. If you like helping, you like dealing with, kids, people that's in hardship, if you know how to handle all that, it's very emotional. It's very, overwhelming sometimes. Just stressful. I'll say that. That's the number one. It is stressful, and it is a little, emotional and overwhelming, but it's very a happy feeling to be here. It's more not just, you're not dealing with just clients. It's not clients. You consider them like family. That's how we take it as. So, more grateful, more appreciative. Us as people, some of us, we might think we're so unfortunate. We don't have this, or we don't have that. But when you step into someone else's shoes, and if you're not in their shoes, but you're here, and you just feel that atmosphere, you see what they go through, even with immigrants, they're going through so much right now. So it's more of, you just be blessed. You're more thankful, grateful of what God just gives you. Even if it's something small, if it's a piece of paper, just be grateful for it, because some people are not fortunate for that. And that's one of the key things of being here. You will learn to be grateful. And that's something I love. I like to see something that grows from just being where, small little, if you got like a plant, you got the flower and it's just growing, and it starts from a little seed and you just see it just grow. you know, and see it just bloom into this beautiful flower. And some, like, we have a resident here that she's been here for over 2 years. And the period time here is actually 8 months to a year. So she's been here over the extended time. But she's this Saturday she's moving. She's moving into her own place. So that's a growth right there. That's something that, you know, you be like, you overjoyed with that. And just to see her, you know, being so happy, and that's where we come in with wish lists, where they have to jot down things that they would love for their home, for their new home, and we help them make a
My
wish.
name is Judy Vaughn, and I'm one of the founding members and also currently the executive director of Alexandria House.
Okay.
The way I started working for Alexandria House is I was living in Chicago I was the director of a national Catholic feminist organization, and I heard from Immaculate Heart Community that they had a house in Los Angeles that they wanted to use for women and children. And I'm a third generation Los Angeles person and really wanted to get back to LA. So decided to call together a group of friends, and we wanted to start Alexandria House. I think what's unique about Alexandria House is the founding members were all activists, and I think hearing the challenge that if you really want to work for social change, you need to be grounded in the realities in which people are really struggling and really need change to happen. So for me, Alexandria House has always been a great balance. I've probably been arrested more times than I know. I can remember, like hundreds, and sometimes that gets really discouraging because social change is so difficult to achieve and it's so incremental, so it gets discouraging. But living here, we see some miracles happen, so it gives hope, but at the same time, to see how women have to struggle so hard to get ahead, it just is a reminder of how the system's not fair, and that puts us back out into doing the social change work. My sister came out of a situation of domestic violence, and when she knew I was starting Alexandria House, I asked her what I should know, and she said 2 things to me. One is, don't expect people to hit the ground running. So many, especially moms with kids, put so much energy into keeping their kids safe, and they're so stressed trying to figure out where they're going to stay, that when people get here and finally realize they have a bed and they don't have to worry, sometimes they just need to sleep. And so give people a little bit of time before it's like, what's your plan? What are you doing today? You know, so that's one. A lot of folks have never lived only with women, so that's definitely an adjustment. And then again, like I said, women from different cultures, different backgrounds. But the other thing my sister told me is the more power you can give to people over their own lives, the faster the healing process is. When you're homeless, you are in so many ways powerless. You don't have a place to stay, you don't know where you're going to eat, you don't know if you're going to have money to eat, you lose your belongings. So we really try to run the place with a lot of trust and a lot of people being able to make decisions on their own. Yes, we definitely have rules, and we have a curfew, and we have some expectations, but also everybody has their own key. We don't lock the kitchen. I really believe trusting folks creates trust back. So, well, I'm usually a short-term person in terms of work. 5 years, you set your goals, you do it, and then you move on to another job. But I find living here and being here compelling. It has definitely changed my life. I grew up in Hancock Park, that is a mile away from here and a million miles away from here. Being white, being from upper middle class background, there's so much I didn't know. And not only here, but at House of Ruth, where I've also worked, really women challenge me to look at all my own biases, my own things I have to unlearn because I learned it in a kind of white patriarchal society. So you don't, for those of us who come out of that experience, there's so much we don't know. So people sometimes say to me, wow, you know, you're really doing good work. And what I say to other folks is really Alexandria House saved my life. It helped me be the person I know I'm called to be. I learned about generosity and courage and staying with it and, you know, how to work the system, you know, really from the folks who are here. So I feel incredibly privileged. And the folks who come here, we try to talk about it, especially since you're doing a sociology class and some study of power. We try to talk about it in terms not charity, but really injustice and justice. That people in 1954, again, a long time ago, the United States said everybody had a right to a house. There should be no homeless people. And yet that's just one more thing that people have been really kind of left on their own without the government holding up their end of the bargain. So we try to talk about doing this work in terms of justice and what's fair. And what's interesting is, you know, we kind of swim upstream because we don't get any government money. We won't discriminate in terms of who has documents, who doesn't, you know, who might not be able to get a job, so you have to move them faster, so you don't take some people because you have to show numbers. We don't do any of that. And so we would rather, you know, reach out to people like yourselves, you know, who kind of get it, to help us keep our doors open.
Yes.
I think with the feminization of poverty, I think statistics would bear out that it has gotten increasingly worse. And even though there's been some quote-unquote progress, it's sort of like racism. You know, people will say, oh, look, we have a black president. But in fact, if you look not only nationwide, but globally, situations for women have become more impoverished.